Welcome to our channel. They're not silver, they're not ancient, but thanks to rare minting errors, some Roosevelt dimes are now among the most sought-after modern coins. Stick around, and by the end of this video, you might just start checking every dime that passes through your hands, because a small mistake at the mint could mean a big reward for you. Taking a second look at the 2014 P. Roosevelt dime is one of those coins that might seem common at first, but in certain cases, it holds more than just face value. If you're a collector or even just casually curious about coins, this is one you'll want to pay attention to. The 2014 Roosevelt dime was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. With millions of these coins produced, it's no surprise that most of them are standard issues that go unnoticed in everyday use. But as with many coins struck in large numbers, some unusual examples have made their way into circulation. These aren't always obvious to the casual eye. But once you know what to look for, the difference can be clear. The dime itself carries the familiar design that has been in place since 1946. The obverse features a portrait of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, and the reverse includes the torch, oak branch, and olive branch. By 2014, the design hadn't changed much, but the minting process had seen decades of refinement. Still, perfection isn't always guaranteed. During minting, a number of things can go slightly off course. These are called minting errors, and they can happen at any stage of production. The planchet might not be formed correctly. The dies might be misaligned. Striking pressure could vary. And when something slips through, it creates a coin that doesn't quite match the rest. Some 2014 P dimes have been found with clear minting errors. One example is when the outer clad layer fails to attach properly, exposing the copper-colored core underneath. This can happen on one side or both, depending on the nature of the error. When viewed side by side with a normal dime, the difference is noticeable. Another type of error involves how the coin is struck in the collar. If the planchet isn't seated correctly in the machine, the edge of the coin may appear slightly off, producing a partial collar or tilted appearance. These features aren't the result of post-mint damage, they originate during the striking process and are considered legitimate minting flaws. There are also instances where the obverse and reverse don't align perfectly. This can lead to one side of the coin being slightly off-center. Depending on how far the misalignment goes, the coin may appear to have a warped or shifted image, but the surfaces remain unbroken and smooth. Sometimes foreign materials can interfere with the striking process. If grease or dust gets between the die and the planchet, parts of the design may not appear fully struck. These coins might have missing elements, faded areas, or uneven surfaces. It's subtle in some cases, but unmistakable to those who've seen it before. Certain errors, like die cracks or minor breaks in the die itself, can create raised lines or bumps on the coin. These are often small but visible upon close inspection. If the break happens near the rim, a portion of the edge may show a raised bump or cud, which is the result of metal filling a gap in the die during striking. All of these issues are rare in comparison to the total number of coins produced. That's what makes them interesting to collectors. Not every 2014 P dime will have these flaws, but when one does, and especially when it's in excellent condition, it can become a valuable piece. Condition is a major factor. A coin with an error might attract attention, but a clean, uncirculated example with the same error is generally much more desirable. This is why handling matters. If you think you found an unusual coin, avoid rubbing or cleaning it. Even small scratches can reduce its overall appeal and potential worth. There's no need to jump to conclusions about every strange-looking coin. Many coins suffer damage after they leave the mint, and these don't increase value. But if a coin looks different in a way that seems built into its structure, not added later, it may be worth setting aside and examining more closely. A trusted coin shop or grading service can often help confirm whether a coin is truly an error and whether it's likely to be of interest to collectors. Some coins that at first appear flawed might not be mint errors at all, while others might have subtle features that make them more significant than they seem. The 2014 P. Roosevelt dime is not an old coin by numismatic standards. It's recent, easy to overlook, and still in circulation in large numbers. But that's what makes it worth checking. People aren't always looking for rare coins in modern pocket change, and that means some of these error coins go unnoticed. If you come across a 2014 dime with the Philadelphia Mint mark, take a few seconds to inspect it. Look at the edges. Tilt it in the light. Compare the design's clarity and alignment to another dime from the same period. If something doesn't look quite right, don't spend it just yet. You never know when a small detail could point to a rare minting flaw. And coins with errors, especially those that are unusual or visually obvious, can be quite sought after. They're not just worth keeping, they could potentially be worth much more than their face value. So before you drop that dime into a machine or hand it over as part of your change, take a second look. It might just be one of the few that slipped through the cracks at the mint, quietly waiting to be discovered. If you have one, check it carefully. If you haven't seen one yet, keep an eye out. These coins are still out there, tucked into pockets and drawers, waiting for someone to notice. Let the next person to spot one be you. Let the next person to spot one be you. Here comes the second one. At first glance, it looks just like the last. A small, silver-colored coin that most people wouldn't think twice about. It's light, familiar, and easy to overlook. But this dime, the 2002 P. Roosevelt dime, is not just another piece of pocket change. This coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Millions of them were made, and most ended up exactly where you'd expect, in registers, piggy banks, vending machines, and coin jars across the country. For nearly everyone, it's just another dime. But once in a while, something different happens. In rare cases, an unexpected flaw in the minting process changes everything. These errors aren't always obvious. They're not dramatic at first sight. They don't come with labels or marks. You have to know what to look for. And that's exactly why most people have no idea they're even holding something rare. One of the rarest errors found in the 2002 P. Roosevelt dime is what's known as an off-metal strike, a dime struck on the wrong type of blank. In simple terms, the coin was made using a planchet that wasn't meant for a US dime at all. It may have been intended for a foreign coin, and it made it into the press by mistake. The result? A dime that's different in subtle but important ways. The coin may appear smaller in diameter. It may weigh less than the usual 2.27 grams. The metal color might be slightly off, darker, lighter, or with a different tone. And the design itself may look distorted or incomplete, since the dies were striking a surface that didn't match the expected size. Sometimes, even the edge of the coin tells the story. It might be thinner than normal, missing the reeded edge, or showing uneven pressure around the rim. The image might be shifted or partially cut off, especially if the planchet was too small to hold the full design. Coins like these are difficult to find because they often look like damaged or worn pieces. That's why so many are spent or tossed aside without a second thought. But when someone knows what to look for, when they understand the small signs, they know this isn't just a flawed coin. It's a rare mistake straight from the mint. Collectors appreciate coins that aren't supposed to exist. When something breaks the pattern, especially during minting, it becomes part of a much smaller group. The fewer there are, the higher the demand. Now, keep in mind, not every odd-looking coin is a valuable one. Many dimes in circulation have taken damage from years of use. Heat, chemicals, and heavy wear can change a coin's color, shape, or weight, but those don't count as mint errors. They don't increase a coin's value. In fact, they usually lower it. The key difference with true error coins is that the mistake happened during production, before the coin ever left the mint. And that's what makes them collectible. Especially when the error is as rare as this one. Finding a 2002 P. Roosevelt dime with a confirmed off-metal strike is extremely rare. Only a handful have ever surfaced, and each one becomes a highlight for serious collectors. That's because the US Mint has strict quality control, and coins like this aren't supposed to make it into circulation at all. But occasionally, one does. And when it does, its value skyrockets, not because of its age, or even its design, but because of the story it carries. A small mistake that made it out into the world, unnoticed by machines, workers, and the public, until someone with a sharp eye took a closer look. Imagine sorting through a roll of dimes and spotting one that feels just a little too light. Or noticing that the color looks just a little off. Or seeing that Roosevelt's portrait isn't centered the way it should be. Most people wouldn't pause. But if you did, and if it turned out to be the right coin with the right error, you'd be holding something far more valuable than 10 cents. In the world of coin collecting, it's not always about how old something is. Sometimes, it's about how rare. And rarity comes in many forms, including mistakes. So if you've got a 2002 dime from the Philadelphia Mint, take a few extra seconds to examine it. Look at the edge. Weigh it if you can. Compare it to another dime from the same year. Even small differences matter. Sometimes especially the small ones. It only takes one overlooked coin to make a big difference. Sometimes all it takes is being the one person who stopped to check. And if you find something that doesn't match, something that doesn't feel right, look right, or measure up, don't rush to spend it. Set it aside, protect it, and get it checked by someone who knows how to spot a true error. Because every now and then, a coin like this makes its way into everyday hands. And when it does, it doesn't stay just a coin for long. One verified 2002 P. Roosevelt dime with this rare minting error, struck on the wrong planchet, was valued at an incredible $53,000. So next time a dime slips through your fingers, pause for just a moment. Look a little closer. Coins with errors often don't look impressive at first. They're not flashy. They don't come with labels. But their uniqueness is what sets them apart, so keep your eyes open. Check your change. The next rare dime could already be in your hands, just waiting to be discovered. Now for the last one, and this time, it's the top find of the day. We've saved the best for last, and this dime proves why even the smallest coin can carry the biggest surprise. It's the 1988 Roosevelt dime, struck at the Denver Mint, and while millions of them were produced that year, only a very few are anything like this. This isn't just about age. 1988 doesn't feel that long ago in the coin world. But what sets this particular dime apart isn't when it was made, it's how it was made. Because in extremely rare cases, a specific and highly unusual error occurred during production that gave rise to a coin few collectors will ever see in person. This error is known as a misaligned die strike, but not the typical kind. In one confirmed example, the obverse, front, die was significantly misaligned, causing Roosevelt's portrait to shift upward and slightly off-center, but with a clean, full reverse design still in place. The rim on the front side was nearly gone at the top, while the bottom had an unusually thick border. It wasn't damaged, it wasn't tampered with, it came out of the mint that way. It's a type of error that speaks louder visually than most. You don't need magnification or fancy tools to spot it, just a careful eye and the habit of checking both sides of every coin. That's part of what makes it such a rewarding find. The detail is where it gets fascinating. Even with the misalignment, the coin retained a strong strike and sharp features, a sign that the pressure and placement were still balanced enough to leave the full design visible, just in the wrong position. That combination of visible flaw and full detail is what makes the coin so exceptional. Even more rare is the fact that this particular dime remained in excellent condition. No heavy wear, no surface damage, and no cleaning. For a coin from the late 1980s, that's already difficult to find, and when you combine pristine condition with a bold, visible mint error, it turns into something truly special. Most people would never notice a coin like this. It could pass through pockets, drawers, and hands for years without anyone realizing what it is. But one person did notice. They took a closer look and recognized that this was far more than an ordinary 10-cent coin. That moment of attention is what separates everyday spenders from careful seekers. It only takes a few extra seconds to inspect a coin before you let it go, and those seconds can lead to something remarkable. Collectors value error coins that tell a story, and this one speaks loudly. It shows that even in modern minting, where machines are calibrated down to the finest detail, mistakes can still happen. And when they do, and they survive in clean condition, they become incredibly desirable. Another reason this coin stands out is that it challenges the assumption that valuable coins have to be old. This one is an antique, and it doesn't come from a rare metal. Its value comes from how rare the error is, and how few like it are known to exist. It also gives everyday collectors a chance at finding something extraordinary. You don't need to search through ancient coins or spend a fortune, just take the time to look through what you already have. This misaligned die strike is especially impressive because of how perfectly imperfect it is. The misplacement is enough to make it noticeable and collectible, but the strike was still strong, clear, and complete, something not always seen in flawed coins. If you're searching through older rolls, especially dimes from the 1980s, don't rush through them. Examine the centering of the design. Pay close attention to how the rim looks around both sides. If something feels off, even slightly, give it another look. Sometimes the most valuable finds don't shout for attention. They quietly stand out, waiting for someone to notice the difference. It's also a great reminder that not all treasures are buried deep, some are hiding in plain sight. All it takes is a little patience and a trained eye to catch something most would miss. And the excitement of that discovery? That's what keeps so many collectors searching, year after year. Even if you're not a full-time collector, knowing what to look for can turn an everyday moment into something unforgettable. So check those dimes, especially from years you wouldn't expect. Because even coins from the late 20th century can hold serious value. That's why it's important not to dismiss coins just because they look modern. A mistake made during minting, paired with strong condition, can completely change what a coin is worth. Because one such 1988 D. Roosevelt dime, struck with this rare and dramatic misalignment, was valued at an incredible $68,000. That's the kind of coin that reminds us, some of the greatest finds come from the smallest details. If you enjoyed today's video and want to keep learning about rare and valuable coins, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Your support means a lot and helps us keep bringing more discoveries to light. Don't forget to leave a comment and let us know which coin surprised you the most, or if you've ever come across something unusual in your own change. We always enjoy hearing from fellow collectors and curious viewers. Drop a like if you found this helpful, and feel free to share it with someone who might be tossing away a small fortune without even knowing it. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy hunting.